I'd always be
Being
feasible.
flexible with the search.
Being flexible with the search is really ideal. And I go back to the property types. I have, to give you an example, I had a woman that came to me. She wanted to start investing. And so we were talking about house hacking, which is buying a building where you have some tenants that are helping pay your mortgage. But based on her credit profile at the time, she couldn't find a building in her price point. So we switched gears and we went and focused on a condo. And she found the condo within budget and closed successfully. A year later, she went back to revisit the pre-approval options, and at that point, she was able to get her building. So
Interesting.
So we have to be flexible with it if you're a long-term vehicle, real estate. And so being flexible with the goal and finding alternative solutions to get to that long-term goal is important.
I see. Now, I'd like to know maybe a little bit more in helping somebody who's in the same situation, because there's a big difference between a condo and a building, which could have 2, 3, 4 units, right? Now, what changed in her situation within only a year, which is very quick for real estate? Like you said, it's a long-term vehicle. You got to plan it ahead for years for this to actually start paying off significantly. But we speak in 12 months. Did her situation improve that much? Was it income? What was it?
Yes, in her case, it was income. So she had a new position that allowed her to qualify for the higher price point that she needed. And so that helped. And inventory, maybe at the time that I can't remember the details of what location she was looking in, but the numbers didn't make sense for the building. So a year later, the inventory changed, or maybe she was looking in a different area.
I see.
But the income definitely was a big change for her. And then there was inventory that made sense. So if ever anyone is interested in house hacking, we always want to start with the building. But if the building doesn't work first, the condo is another alternative to start, because you can move your condo space, your living space is the same, it's comparable to living in a unit in a building, right? So then you can start with your condo 3% down, and then when you could buy the building with 3.5% to 5% down.
Okay. So you get to leverage your financing power, your buying power towards a bigger asset.
Yes.
Okay. Perhaps track record also improved, like the paying for a condo, right? Qualify for real estate as well.
Yes.
Better. Yeah. Now, you kind of know why you start with a building for house hacking, and how actually a lender looks financing a building easier than a 4,000 square foot single family home.
So the minimum down payment for a purchase is usually 3% for a first-time buyer. And if we're looking at a building, two different loan types. So we're looking at 3.5% to 5% down on a building. Those are the minimum down. 3% will be single family or condo. So reason why house hacking makes sense with the building is because from a lending perspective, we're using rental income to qualify. So the rental income is increasing the buying power, because now we're having the buyer's income, whatever that salary or self-employment income may be,
Right.
plus the income produced by the building.
So we're assuming we're going to rent those units.
Yes.
Okay.
The bank's looking at that extra income potential. And then you're able to purchase that building with little money down. So that's another benefit. You can do a 3.5% to 5% down payment on that building, because it's going to be your primary residence. If you buy the single family home first with your 3% down, and then you want to buy a multi-unit, well, it doesn't make sense. You're going to get up to 4,000 square feet to go live in
Right.
a 1,000 square foot unit, right? So that's going to now be an investment. And when you're buying an investment property, your down payment is 25%.
Okay.
So we went from putting only 3.5%, 5% down to 25% down. So it's a huge difference on how much capital is required up front.
So it's more applicable for first-time buyers, who especially maybe moves from renting,
right?
now also just switches to the almost same size, maybe
Same size.
same style
Yep.
of living, but only assumes a loan and becomes a landlord.
Right.
Okay. And that's also an interesting occupation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
You
big
gotta
topic on its own.
you gotta know your landlord
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, rules, guides, yes.
for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so hacking into the real estate, pretty much everyone who could be approved for a mortgage could use this strategy, right? And
Hmm.
start building their real estate portfolio.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Now, is there, I know you touched on moving from a single family home and applying for a mortgage for a building.
Hmm.
Now you have to consider it as an investment. But can you reverse the example? I know it's a little bit different math when you move from your place in the building. Let's say you live at the third floor and you rent the two.
Hmm.
Now you're moving into a home.
Hmm.
How is this works?
So whenever you move out from that building that was your primary residence, and now you want to buy your single family home for more space, your down payment requirement for the occupancy. So if you're going to purchase a one unit single family, your down payment as a repeat buyer is 5%. That's your minimum. So that's when we say house hack, start with the building, is because we're trying to protect your cash.
So in this case, even buying a single family, we're still pretty much hacking the system. I mean, using to our advantage.
You are, because you're starting, because the goal is to start with buying with the smallest amount of down payment each way, as far as you can. And then you're using each property, renting it out to help you buy the next one.
Okay. So move from building into a new home, new place. We're upsizing. Maybe the family grows. We fully renting the building. Is there anything else to help this strategy, or at that point every other property would be just considered fully investment property?
So let's go through the whole story. So let's say we start with a condo because that's what we can afford right now. We
Right.
start with a condo, we do 3% down. The next property is a building. We can do 5% down on the building, 3.5 or 5%.
Okay.
We have a condo. Now we're living in this building. Maybe we're living rent free. If you have four doors, right? If you have a 4 flat or
Right.
even a 3 flat with that other condo, you have 4 doors. You're probably living rent free. So now you save up and you want to buy your single family. So 5% down is the minimum. You buy your single family. Everything else is paying for itself, positively cash flowing. If you decide that you want to buy another piece of property and you can rent that single family home and it can pay for itself or give you some positive cash flow, then you can buy your next single family home and do 5% down. Or maybe at this point you've already made so much from your investments, you're putting a larger
Right.
down payment, right?
Right.
So you don't necessarily have to focus on the smallest down payment at that point, but you can continue to
You
buy.
can still maximize the usage of whatever buying power you have.
Yes,
And I like your example. You still kind of through without selling any of the properties yet.
right.
Hypothetically, I own now a condo. Thank you, Michelle. I own a building and I own a single family. So I can buy another single family as long all of the rents cover every expense and I still can use 5%.
Yes,
What type of loan would that be?
a conventional loan.
Okay. Assuming still qualified for, right?
Assuming you're
Because
still qualified.
I'm assuming all this debt and
Yeah.
I don't know. We talked about ownership and expenses and maintenance and you
Right.
know broke down and you have to replace it full cost right away.
Right. It's
So
got to
that's-
make sense.
Yeah, it's gonna make sense.
Yeah, because the example is that you sell that single family home
Right.
and you take your equity there and you put it into the next one, right? So there's various ways to go about it, but it's definitely, it makes the most sense to start buying as many units as you can with little down to get into it. And then once you get that building, you have other options now because you have additional cash flow.
Now I'm not sure if I just heard a rumor or was this TikTok. Nowadays they're the advisors, everybody.
Yes.
But if I want to get another single family home with 5%, should it be, same state or different state? What if I just want to move from west suburb back to north suburb or actually get back into the city? Is there limits on where can I apply this?
It just has to make sense. So if you wanted to buy another single family home to occupy, you want to move out of your house
Right.
and change. As long as it makes sense for work, you can be in the same, you can purchase all in the same, that's not an issue.
Okay. I guess where I'm trying to head with this question is there now a house hacking strategy continuing and getting property in actually different states, like, with a vacation home or like in.
Yes. So if you buy a vacation home in a different state, you can use a conventional loan to do that, and the minimum down is 10%.
Okay. Well, we're still not at 20. I like that.
Yeah. That makes sense because I'll be honest, you're going to have PMI, private mortgage insurance,
Yeah.
and at this time, there's not a big appetite for second homes. So lenders are charging more points. So if you're going to have to pay the extra points, sometimes it just makes more sense to put more money down. So the numbers have to make sense, but technically it's 10% down. So you can absolutely buy another property in another state, 10% down, assume you qualify now with that mortgage, because we're not using rental income if it's a second home. So now you have to qualify with your first home mortgage plus the second home mortgage and any debt that you have in your credit.
Right.
So it's increasing risk to the bank.
Unless we buy that property to rent it out, but then it becomes an investment and
20% down, yeah.
But to qualify.
Yeah, yep.
As long as you have the money, because
Right.
the income.
Right.
Okay. Now,